It's the day before Thanksgiving, and we're tasting some more seedling apples. There's a couple things I want to try right now before it's too late. It might be already too late. I'm going to pick the last of these black strawberry apples that are all cross-pollinated with different things, but this one, I don't see a label. Oh no, where did I just pick that? Oh well, I guess we lost that one. Let's make sure that this one's labeled. PP, Pink Parfait. Make sure those are labeled. There it is. I went back through and relabeled most of these because this is an issue, especially with this apple. It becomes very difficult to find or read. I think it might be right here, the old writing that's gone now. Appaloosa, something that ends with CK. I'll figure that out later. Twang, not a great cross there. Pink Parfait, lots of that cross. That's like the no-brainer cross to me with black strawberry. Now this isn't a seedling, but it turns out that it's a really early year for apples, and this Pink Parfait is ripe now. This really is such a good apple. It needs to be grown more. Has the honey taste already in November here. I've eaten this as late as February, where it wasn't really ripe until February. Excellent, juicy, but very crisp, very easy to eat texture. Some berry flavors with the red flesh there. Grow it. A lot of people who've ordered Scions have gotten free Scionwood of this. I often just stick one in every bag just to get it out there more. So good. Okay, this is Appaloosa. Appaloosa. So named because of all the spots on it, see there. And this is the first year I've gotten tasteless, besides the very first year it fruited, which was a long time ago, like 6 years or something, maybe 5 or 6 years. I think there's some down here that might be ripe. Definitely, I think I'm going to pick one this morning and taste it. So this is an apple I'm real interested in right here, especially this year when it decided to grow pretty huge. That's pretty huge. And it grew 3 apples like this, not very many. I'm thinking this might have been the very first tree to bloom in this entire block. In the past, this has been juicy, tart, crisp, late. It usually ripens really late. By the time it ripens, though, it'll often have a lot of flavor. And I'm pretty sure it's a Lady Williams cross, even though there's no tag here. It's Grenadine !11.7, but I'm pretty sure it's Lady Williams, just again because I recognize the flavors and the appearance as well. This year it's been very tart and just felt like it didn't have time to ripen. It's a very weird year, like things are ripening early, but they maybe aren't developing as fully as they should. A lot of apples that seem softer than they should be, so I don't know what's up with that, but let's just go ahead and take a bite. I'm thinking this is more of like a winter cooking apple. Like in a normal year here, it's going to be available maybe mid-November as a slightly unripe cooking apple through like part of December, something like that. So again, this year it's already gotten a little bit soft, and that's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. Another thing about this apple is the ones that I've picked earlier and cut didn't brown very much at all, like even for days. You know, I took a slice too and just left it on the counter and let it dry. It didn't brown either. So that's pretty neat. So I'm thinking this is going to be a really cool cooking apple. I just think it's off this year. But even so, I mean, I could definitely make great pies out of this right now. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, is make a pie out of all my seedling apples for Thanksgiving tomorrow, going to Mom's house. Okay, let's see if sugarwood has perked up at all. Last time I tried it definitely wasn't ripe. Yeah, it doesn't seem ripe. Not very sweet, and obviously from the name, this is one of the highest, if not the highest, sugar content apples I've ever measured on the homestead. This year we had these really early rains that just blew everything up. Good thing about that is it did not crack. You know, I don't see, like most of the apples have at least some cracked apples on them. You know, where like down in the stem well, at least they're having some trouble. But this did not crack at all. But so far, tannic, fairly woody, again, though not as woody as sometimes in the past. Acidic, but not much sugar, not much flavor. So I'm still hoping this will shape up this year. But like I said, It's a very odd year. We've had over 10 inches of rain really early. This is a cooking apple that I think is at least going to be good for sauce. You can see it's a very nice looking apple. It's a Lady Williams Grenadine Cross. It has been very productive, reliable, but it just isn't a very good eating apple. But I do think it's going to be fine for a lot of cooking tasks. And last year I made applesauce with it, and it was actually very good. It was nice because it's got a bracing acidity to it, which is a good characteristic for applesauce. You really want that counterbalance to the sugar. Definitely sugar added, but this is about at the stage now where I'd want to pick it. So I'm going to pick a few. If I could find any damaged ones, I'll pick those for my pie tomorrow. And then within a week, I'd like to be cooking the rest of these into applesauce for another test on that. And they actually look pretty good. Some of these cracked with that early rain, but a lot of them didn't. And again, like, look at these nice apples. This is just a real high performer. It's always grown well, it looks healthy. Scab, I don't remember. It's a very, very low scab year, so I can't really judge scab this year. Now here's an apple that I've gotten more interested in. I call it January Russet, I think. Is this the right tree? That's just a working name, by the way. Don't get too attached to these names because a lot of them are going to change. But I do like that name. And it is usually a January Russet, if this is even the right apple. Where's my tag? Whoa! I just knocked like half the apples off sugarwood, tripping over it. Which is too bad because I want to make cider out of those. If I can manage to make 1 pint of cider. Well, I am not seeing the tag. Oh wait, that's January Russet over there. So this is something else. Let's taste this. It definitely has some pink flesh. You can see it showing through the skin. It's already overripe. It's actually getting hard to keep track of these and, get them on time. Nice flavor, enough sugar, but kind of ho-hum and a weird kind of grainy texture. Probably pick these and make sauce out of them. These would be good for like a pie right now. Not great, not the best, but add some color, flavor to the pie. Okay, here's an apple I'm very interested in. It has a nickname, which is Vanilla Pink. Cool name. And I'm going to go with this one because I have a feeling it's ready. This has been anywhere from promising to disappointing to very promising again. I don't know. Okay. First of all, look at that color. This one's nice, but a little underripe. The texture isn't amazing, but it's not bad. And, I'm generally compelled to finish these. Let's try this one. I can point out the flaws in this apple. The texture isn't amazing, but it's not real bad. It's got that kind of grainy grenadine thing, but it's not, it's irritable. The bottom line is when I start eating one of these, I usually want to finish it. It has berry flavors. It has some other characteristic that's kind of like a sweet candy, cloying candy, like vanilla, thus the name Vanilla Pink, which is a great name. I mean, everyone will want this apple if it has that name, because everyone wants Vanilla Pippin, and I keep telling people that it's really not that good. At least where I live, it's not that good. Anyway, this is pink, and if it has the name Vanilla, it's going to be very popular. I hope people won't be disappointed. Tastes vary, but again, the bottom line is when I start eating one of these, I really want to eat it. I picked one up off the ground the other day that just was really compelling, and I ate it right down to the core. When I say candy or vanilla, I'm kind of thinking of, those orange, I don't know, these are old school candies, but there's these orange, they look like pieces of styrofoam, and they're like eating a piece of foam, and they're shaped like a peanut, but they're basically just sugar and maybe some vanilla. They're very cloying, very sweet, no acid kind of a candy. It has some kind of quality that's sort of like that as a background, which is I think really adds a lot to it. So this is one that I have grafted a branch out, but I need to graft it more to find out what it's about, because it is promising, and I think in some years it's going to be quite good, and also pretty good maybe for cooking, again, sauce, pies and stuff like that. And the color, wow. Yeah, it's a good one. A lot of disappointing apples this year, but that's not one of them. This is something else. I've got a lot of apples out of these grenadine crosses that are kind of this very similar grainy flesh, similar flesh color, similar flavor. Not bad, but nothing to write home about. This is yet another one of those. And that's Grenadine Golden Russet 11.6. Okay, many years ago, I decided to cross Granny Smith and Grenadine, and this is the result. At the time, my girlfriend was like, you have to call it Granny Dean. Here it is, the first ever tasting of Granny Dean. It's overripe, super mealy, like just mushed out mealy. Look at that. Has really no flavor at all. So Granny Dean will have to wait another year. Unfruitful, much like that relationship turned out to be, unfortunately. It's unfortunate that this apple didn't turn out to be better. You can see they're like all over the ground. Very productive. Nice looking apple. Pink flesh. But they just never been any good. They're a very low sugar, fairly tart. Yeah, just nothing to recommend this for anything except animal feed. But even with that, it just seems like the sugar's too low. So that's probably going to get culled this year. I'll be culling quite a few trees this year. I need to come in with some flags and go through my videos and mark a few. But I want to start thinning these things out. I think this vanilla pink one is also going to be later normally. But this year, I don't think it's going to improve any at all. Is this it here? You know, I think this might be something different. Oh, Grenadine Gold Rush 1110. Beautiful neon color. You know, this may be what I tasted last time I was out. Again, though, it's similar to that group with the same like coarse, grainy texture, similar appearance, similar flesh color, although this is pretty over the top, neon pink. And similar flavor. So I'm going to get a bunch of these apples, and I'm just going to have to kind of pick out the best one or two out of those. That might take a while. Like I always say, if it has whatever it is that makes me want to chase after that flavor and eat it, then that's good, right? Okay, what's this? Oh, this is Cherry Cox Rubaiyat. If the texture was better on this, it'd be a pretty compelling apple. Let's try a different one. That's better. Well, this here, there's nothing really to distinguish this apple, but, you know, it's kind of interesting. It could shape up. Lady Williams 11.4. Let's see what that's about. Probably another cider. Fairly tannic, lots of flavor. Seems pretty sweet. Yeah, that has a legitimate potential as a cider apple. A lot of these other ones are like, you know, throw it in the cider, but this is different. It just has more richness to the flavor or something. It's pretty tannic. It's like drying out the inside of my mouth. Okay, here's the beautiful, look at this. That's Appaloosa. You can see why I've been excited about it, even though I've only really eaten one apple ever. But I started using it in breeding right away. I'm not expecting much because this can be a regular sized apple, but this tree almost died and it's never really recovered. So it's not going to produce good fruit for a while if it ever does again. Nice flesh color, very tannic, pretty dry flesh. I'd say the berry flavors are a little deeper than most of what we've tasted here today, which is kind of what I remember and kind of what I expect from it. But yeah, we're just going to have to get a better specimen. You know, I don't think this one's not going to get a lot better or anything like that. Not too impressive this year. This is that potential cider apple. Oh yeah, I'm feeling it. Oh yeah. Sugar, flavor, tannin. It's a flavorful bittersweet. One last thing is the real January Russet, because it could be ripe early this year. In November. Nope, still green. This is an apple that I thought about culling. Once it got into, like, again, January, you know, and I tasted it, I was like, oh, like Christomatics was here and we were walking around and we're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. And that seems to be the case. It like stays tannic and inedible until sometime in the winter. Right, I'm not sure we'll be back in here this year or not. There's not a lot left to taste. Maybe check on sugarwood. Again, you know, my thing with that is just to get as many apples as I can once it's actually ripe and maybe make like a little pint of cider in a mason jar or something to see if I can test it, even though I'm not a very good cider maker. See you later.